What is up, everyone? Welcome to another podcast of Big Sis. I'm Big Sis Val.
And I'm Big Sis Ange. Welcome back, guys.
Hey.
So good to have you here. What are we talking about today, Val? Tell us. Tell them.
All right. So today's topic is going to be about self-image. So pretty much how you view yourself, and also we're going to tap into a little bit of social media too, because I know that's really important in our time, right?
Yeah, right on. I think a lot of it today, self-image, will start from there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of wanted to ask you, Angie, like self-image, when you, like how you view yourself versus how other people view you. Like, are those two people similar, the same, different? Like, kind of give me a little background of your perspective on, your self-image.
Yeah. Well, I think for everyone, for the most part, at least, can struggle with insecurity for sure. And I think we're always going to be our worst critics. My eyebrow doesn't look good today, or I hate this about myself, or oh my God,
Right.
there's always going to be something. And
Yeah.
I think the way people look at you is completely different. You might feel something about yourself that I truthfully would probably admire,
Yeah.
and we don't really realize, we don't see it that way, just because obviously people don't go walking around like, hey, I really like that about you, or blah blah blah.
Like so openly, and like,
Yeah,
we probably be
exactly.
like, okay.
Weirdo. But thank you, that made me feel good, weirdo.
Right. Then you're low-key like, oh my God, winning.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're going to talk about insecurities, and just to kind of share what I'm deeply insecure about, and just being open about it, I think would help others, because I want you guys to know, even me, who I may come off as if I'm not insecure about things, I definitely am. I have my insecurities, and that would be my smile. I am so insecure about my smile. Yes, I can fix it, but guess what? I gotta make that bag before I do. So
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's
you have a gorgeous smile, though. I don't know what you're talking about, but see, that's another thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, people don't see it, but you're it's in the back of your head, but other people are like, wait, what? They didn't even look. That's kind of like when I have a pimple, and then I'm like, stop looking at it. They're looking at what? Now that you pointed out,
Yeah, now we're just gonna look at it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so it's everyone's always gonna have insecurities, and I think you have to be able to get past them to be able to be okay. If it's something that you can't fix now and you can fix later, just see it that way. You got to reframe it. You got to not put so much focus and attention on those insecurities, because they're really going to hold you back from doing a lot of things.
Yeah. And I really like how you started off with, the first thing whenever you wake up, when you look in the mirror, you're kind of your worst critic. And I used to be like that, so extremely, it was a little toxic, honestly.
Really?
The first thing you would point out is, oh my God, my pimples. Oh my God, my, I don't know, my flab here. Oh my God, this. And, you immediately go to the problem,
Yeah.
and I have, over the past few months of being quarantined, I have been giving myself a lot more self-love and a lot more practice and exercises, mentally and physically, right? But it's still a work in progress. I'm still in the works of, fully accepting myself of who I am. But let me tell you, I'm way more past than I would have thought, without, just, practical, affirmations, confidence building, and it's just a bunch of things. And this lack of confidence can be, I'm guilty. I scroll through the Instagram, and you see these people that are just perfect people, and you're like, you know what I mean? And you really can't do that just because they have millions of dollars, and they have the lifestyle to fully carve out what they want to look like. And it's you really got to think back, at the end of the day, this is your body, this is your your temple. If you want to make minor tweaks here and there, great. If you want to make minor tweaks to look normalized, I guess, if that makes sense, great. But if it makes you feel great too, girl, do it. You know what I mean? Live your best version of yourself, but not to the point where it becomes too overwhelming and takes over, you know, and toxic ultimately.
Yeah, and I definitely can see that with those kind of people online, you know, we always see trends coming about, you know. The trend back in the day, I remember, you know, you had to look super skinny to be like the it girl. Like you have to be
Dude,
skinny,
right?
like
Super,
quick.
super skinny.
Yeah. And then nowadays you see the voluptuous types, like, you know,
Yeah,
everyone wants the, you know, the big booty,
yeah. People
the
are like literally getting implants, like,
yes,
you
yes.
know, which is
Like,
cool, you know,
yeah.
but
And I get that, but you
I'm
gotta
all
remember, if you're doing this just for a trend, like you gotta realize that trend's probably gonna die off at some point.
right.
So are you really gonna be satisfied after the job that you're getting done, or is this always gonna be a constant problem for you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just all about being realistic, you
Yes,
know, like if it's a health issue, maybe you need to get your nose done because you can't breathe, but
right,
also maybe you wanted, you know, a little whatever, or, you know, just little minor tweaks isn't a bad, you know, big dramatic, like
exactly.
live your life, you know, no judgment at all, but you know, it's just all about being realistic and loving yourself at the end of the day. And,
Yeah.
you know, even after, you know, you do have these changes in your life and they do make you feel better, just really learn to like give it back to yourself, you know, like I am worthy of, you know, being, I don't know, being like a part of everything, you know,
Yeah,
without changing so dramatically, you know.
exactly. 100%. And you know, you brought in something I think important to kind of talk about, because when we speak about health and we speak about body image, a lot of people tend to get those two kind of confused a little bit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you are, you know, I hate to say, if you're overweight, you're struggling in that area, you know, I'm not saying that it's okay for someone to fat shame you or to make you feel bad about yourself, which I'm sure you already feel bad about it. What I'm
Right.
trying to communicate is, you know, remember to put your health first as well. Like, yes, it's okay to walk around and be confident in your own body. I do
Yes.
agree with that.
I love seeing that. I'm like, you go, girl, you know,
Yeah,
especially
because I
when
mean,
girls are on the journey for health. I'm like, yes, you
yes,
even go even more. You go, Glen Coco. Like,
yes, you go, Glenn. Yes, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, get yourself on a path to become healthy and be okay with the journey along the way. Like, you're not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be perfect. And if you're like killing
exactly.
yourself in that moment, dude, flaunt it, own it, like be yourself. And, you know, I
Yes.
think that that is so much more respectable than like, you know, you kind of shying away from things. And I don't know. I think confidence is like such a great accessory, like they say, you know?
Yes, dude. I honestly, like you mentioned, you see girls that are just flaunting what they have right now,
Mhm.
and it's actually beautiful. You're actually kind of like jealous, like, damn, like how come? I don't know, because sometimes I'm not even that confident to be like all like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like, damn, you know, like that really puts me into perspective. Like, you gotta love what you have right now, even if you have this goal in mind that you want to be
right.
like post post about the journey, you know, like love the journey and love, you know, what is current, what's the current state.
Yes.
um you know, like, because again, it's really hard to compare on social media, but at the same
Yes.
time, I do more social media for inspo, you know, I do it for more inspiration of what I want to be, what I kind of want in my life, but I wouldn't want to change what I have now, you know what I mean?
Right.
You also have to love what you have. So
Yeah, and that's so true. I think like treating Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're on as an
yeah,
inspiration is such a good idea, because, you know, you can have these things in front of you all the time to remind you of your goal at your end goal. But at the same time, you don't want to get consumed with the fact that you don't look like that. You just want to be able to get there. And, you know, it's going to take time. Nothing happens in a day. And I think that's where a lot of people feel like, well, I worked out for a week and I ate so healthy. Like, why don't I look like that? Like, well,
yeah,
how long do you think that person really took before they got to that position? Unless they got surgery and stuff, you know, that's a different story.
yeah. But then also, like, you know, I'm gonna take a spin real quick before we, like, you know, almost close up, but like,
Yeah.
you know, I see people on Instagram. I saw this one guy and he was literally half a body, like he only had his top half and he
Okay.
had only his arms, and he was working out, and he was like working out really hard. He was doing CrossFit, and that shit is like no joke. And so I was looking at this video like, man, I'm over here complaining about maybe a bad hair day, or maybe I didn't, I don't know, something, stupid, right? And kind of, not relevant and not important. But like, I'm like, this guy probably goes through so much more. Or for example, that one surfer girl that got her arm bitten off by a shark.
Yeah.
She has to like grocery shop with like one arm and like still drive. And I'm like, like it really puts you into perspective. Like, I'm really blessed, for what I have, and I can really, do more things. So
it's
that's
about
just my take.
Yeah, no, and you're so right, because I feel like sometimes we get consumed with like first world problems, like, oh, my bad hair day. But there's people out there with no arms, like you said. Like, what life would you really have? Like, come on, you gotta. It's like checking yourself in a sense.
I don't know.
And
yeah,
just to kind of like piggyback a little bit on what we're saying, but aside from being confident in who you are, the reason we suggest this and the reason we advise this is because, remember, oh my God, I had a brain fart. Here it goes. Okay, so confidence. So what I was going to say is, we have the confidence because otherwise, if you don't have confidence and you're not content with who you are right now, you're going to get caught up in like some kind of like mental warfare, and it's never going to go well for you. Let's just say that, because I've been there. I'm sure a lot of people are there, and when you're caught up in this mental warfare, girl, you ain't gonna go anywhere. You're just gonna be consumed with like, oh my God, that person's looking at my insecurity. Oh my God, that other person looked at me weird. They're probably thinking about blah blah blah. Like,
yeah,
But I mean, there's people out there.
You.
Sucks. It
sucks. It does. And especially when you walk into the room with the insecurity, like wearing the insecurity already on your shoulders, like it's like, on your forehead, and it's like, just like have the insecurity, but like own it, and whether you want to change it, how can you change it? You know what I mean? Or how can you absorb it and like just wear it with confidence,
Yeah, for sure. I think
that's the better way.
Like you said. Yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, what were you saying?
I was gonna say something. Sorry, I'm all.
Oh man, we're feeling it today, aren't we?
I'm all. Let me get. I was just gonna ask you, like, how are some of the things you deal with confidence or boost your confidence? Like, how do you deal with like social media and like your self-image?
Well, it does come to me like in waves sometimes, where I like look at things and then I find myself thinking negative thoughts about myself, and I'm like, okay, Angie, stop thinking about things like that. Like, in a way, I kind of suppress those negative thoughts, and I have been like also kind of adding in some positive thoughts along with that. So like, if I see something, we talked about my insecurity, my smile. If I see someone with like totally great smile, or if I'm watching a video and I'm like paying attention to it hardcore, I'm like, oh my God, like I can't get past it. But then I have to remind myself, well, like, your hair looks great today. How about we focus on your hair? So it's like, kind of like adding and subtracting in a way,
I get you. Yeah, literally like reframing, literally just like, a negative comes by, hit it with a positive, like.
Yeah. And I actually took that from you, because I think we talked about, it wasn't obviously about body image or image in general. Like, I think it was just about kind of your negative thoughts. We've talked about that. So, that does kind of play into this whole thing, where it's like, if you're thinking negatively about yourself, then how about you add some positivity about it?
Yes, you have to. It's kind of like how people sometimes eat something like really bad, like a cake or a cupcake, and then they'll go eat like a carrot or like a salad. They'll be like, all right, cancel it out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. I mean, that's not my nutrition advice, I swear. But
Is that what you do, Al?
No, I don't.
That's why you look so good. You eat cake in
I swear. But yeah, honestly, like, just stare at yourself in the mirror, and if something bad comes your way, if it's literally the first thing you think of, like something negative, literally hit it with a positive, and then something else negative comes back, boom, hit it with another positive. Like, just keep playing that game, because that is going to like almost exercise your mind and like reframe your mind into more of a positive thinker, into more, because you're going to start looking for more like good things in life rather than the negative things in life. And it's just going to keep building and building.
Yeah. And look, I know there's probably going to be people out there, because like I've heard them, I've witnessed them. They're going to say, I just can't find anything to appreciate about myself or admire about myself. Well, if you can't for the moment look at yourself and find something positive about yourself as far as features go, how about you look within? Are you a good person? Are you kind? Do you smile, and are you kind to others? Like, look within, start there, because you want to start having these positive thoughts about yourself, because obviously, like we've talked about this stuff, it's like it's a domino effect. So if you start somewhere, at some point you're gonna find that admiration that you have about yourself.
Yes, 100. I 100 agree. Dang, we hit a lot of good points.
We did. Any final thoughts, my girl?
Honestly, that's it. Just, appreciate yourself. Because you're one of a kind. There's no one else like you in the world. They may look like you, but think about it. There's no one else like you.
Yes, girl. Yes, there ain't nobody like it. Yes, learn to love yourself, you guys. It's so important. It's gonna help you in every area in your life. Like, trust me, even just walking out the door and being confident, it's such a good thing to see in people. Like, I love watching people walk around, because you can kind of really see the way that they're confident about each other.
They're like with that step.
Like, if you see someone with like a great, just like, open posture, and they're not so, hunchback, and kind of like, you can see they're like distant or whatever. Like, who are you going to gravitate more towards? That person that's like, oh my God, this world's weird, or the person that's like kind of more upbeat, I guess, or just has a kick in their step? Like,
I know what you mean. That's so funny, dude.
Be that person.
Seriously, because you know who she's talking about. So don't be that person. Be the other person.
Yes, girl. All right, guys. Well, we'll wrap this one up. I mean, we covered pretty much all solid points here. If you guys ever need us, we're here. This is a safe place, and you can always email us at bigthisquestion@gmail.com.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll catch you on the next one.
We'll see you guys on the next one.